There is the first one. You must be able to calculate the new price of an item using the average inflation rate. As we know, one of the best investments a person can make is to buy property or a house. And because of inflation, it's such a good investment. Now let us look at the question. It says, a house is bought for 950,000 rand. The price of the house increases at an average rate of inflation of 7.5% per year. How much will this house be worth in 2 years' time? Some hint that I want to give you is that when I look at any question, there are two things every question has. The first one is the question gives me certain information. Now, if I say it gives you information, I've actually highlighted for you in this example to show you how many things they gave you to help you to understand the question. It gave you the price of the house, which was 950,000. It told you that it increases. So immediately you must think, right, it's not going to become less than 950. My final answer must obviously be more than 950. So those are little keywords to help you. And then, of course, another value that they gave was the 7.5%, so that I know how much it must increase. And then the last part that I highlighted for you was to say that for how long in a period is it going to increase, which is 2 years. I said a question has two things. The first one was, look what the question gives. I highlighted them for you in blue. And now let's come to the second part of what every question has. And that is, of course, what does the question ask? In this instance, the question asked, how much will it cost over this period of time? I'm going to repeat it again. Look what the question gives. Look at the important information the question gives before I go to the part to see, but what does the question ask? Then only I can go to my calculations, because now I understand what they have given to me. They've given to me values. They've given to me a word that tells me it's going to increase. They've given me by how much it's going to increase. And they also said over what period of time it's going to increase. My question, how much must it be in the end? So if my answer is in years, I know it cannot be right, because what did the question ask? How much? Then I know it must be in rand. So how will I go about in solving this problem? So I said in the beginning, when we work with inflation rates, it is percentage. And now I have to use my calculating skills where I have learned to work with percentage. Right. What do? I say 7 for year 1. Be careful now, remember there's 2 years. Year 1, it increased with 7.5%. So I take my calculator and I say, I'm going to show you this one for just to make sure that you can remember how to use your calculator when it gets to the percentages. Right. There's the calculator. The question was 7.5%. So remember, we say comma, but what do we use on the calculator? We use the decimal point. So 7.5, and now it is percent, but it means over 100. So I'm going to divide it by 100, and that is equals to 0,075 multiply by my amount, what that was, 950,000, which gives you 71,250. Right, now we go back. I said the first one, I calculate, but be very careful, because this 7,5% is only the increase. Remember, we want to know how much will it be at the end of the first year. So what is the important thing to add? Now I must go add my increase to what it was originally. So with the first year's inflation rate, now that house of 950,000 is already worth over R1 million. That we've only done 1 year. Then I have to repeat the same with the second year. I will say, and now this is the catching point, because the 7,5% is not calculated on the original 950. Remember, it is a year later. The house is now worth more than it was originally. So I have to calculate the inflation rate on the new value of the house, the one that has already the inflation compounded. And that gives you then an amount of 76,596.75. But once again, what do I have to do? I have to add the increase to the original amount, which then gives you almost 1,100,000 if it's rounded. Now I know many of your teachers teach you different methods, and I'm just going to show you an alternative method for this question, where we first, in this example, we first calculated the 7,5 and then we added it. The second year, we first calculate the interest and then we add it. But because I know there's some teachers that use a different method, I will just show you that method as well. Right, we're going to use the same question, but I just want to show you the alternative method. Because if I look at the question, it says the 7,5% is added. So many teachers teach you that you say it is your 100%, which is the 950, plus the increase of 7,5%, which gives you then a total of 107,5%. So now I can calculate it in that way, and then I can say, but it is 107,5% multiplied by the 950,000, and I want to show that to you on the calculator. So I'm going to say 107,5. Remember, it's percent, so I must divide it by 100, and then I can multiply it by 950,000. And what do you see? For the first year, my answer is 1,021,250. But once again, remember, I'm just going to write it here. It says year 1. Now I still need to go to year 2. But my inflation rate stays the same. So it's going to be 107,5% multiply, and remember this is the catching point, not on the original value, but on the inflated value, which is 1,021,250. If I do that on the calculator, let us just do that, 107,5%, which means divide by 100, multiply by 1,021,250, And let us see what's the final answer. 1,097,843,75. Remember, this is an alternative method. So let us just quickly go back to the previous method.